Okay, I'm working on these Mercedes injectors. These are common in older Volkswagen and just European vehicles, and Jaguars, etc. Use these top feed injectors with a barbed upper neck, and they use either a hose clamp to lock it on or what they call a ferrule, which is its own way of locking the hose onto the injector. So these use 4 inches of hose. I've got those cut out and ready to go, and I'm just going to show the proper install on these because there's a lot of debate about these are unnecessary, they don't do anything, it's better to use a clamp, or whatever the argument is, but that these are irrelevant. And the truth of the matter is this actually acts as the clamp. This is what locks that fuel line onto the injector. So as you see on the collar here, you've got this 1, 2 barbs, and then you've got this last little flange right there, and that flange is what seats just right on the inside diameter of this ferrule. And so what we need to have is the hose in between those so that it gets pinched between the barbs and the ferrule itself. So excuse my sniffles, I just had a sneezing attack a minute ago, and now this is the perfect timing for it to find its way out. So I was going to put a tiny little bit of grease on there. I didn't use much. I took way more than I needed. I just want a little bit of slip assistance when I've got this together. I'm going to take the ferrule and I'm going to go ahead and set that down on the injector, and then take my fuel hose, and I'm going to work that fuel hose down to about the second barb, giving it a nice even pressure and twist, right down to about the second barb. Now I've not seated that hose. It's not all the way down. It's, again, right up to that second barb. And then I need to get this ferrule positioned so it's actually squeezing on the hose. See how there's slack in that? We don't want that slack. That means it's not tight. So we've got to fix that carefully. We're going to use just a simple flathead screwdriver and work that ferrule up over the end of the hose and in place. Okay, now that's on there. Now that's tight, and it's not going anywhere, but it's also not properly seated yet. So now that we've got the hose flush and the ferrule properly squeezed up and seated, simply hold the injector and the hose and just twist them together. Pardon my sniffles. And that'll just walk right down and seat into position. One extra little twist for good measure. Now that's on there. Now that sucker's locked into place. It's not going anywhere. Excuse me. And this ferrule is what's holding everything together. There's no clamp needed. This ferrule has done its job. It's squeezed up over the hose, and then that whole hose and ferrule is slid down into that lock position where the inside diameter has flared that out again, and now everything's nice and tight. That is proper hose installation on the hose and ferrule type injector.